Of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Reverend Dr. Harold Marrero becomes Pridelines Executive Director, signaling renewed leadership, stability, and trust amid challenges for Florida LGBTQ organizations.
The Council of Europe passed a trans-inclusive conversion therapy ban, rejecting anti-trans lobbying and citing serious mental health harms globally.
Gay journalist Don Lemon was arrested and federally charged for covering an anti-ICE church protest in Minnesota, sparking First Amendment and press freedom debates.
All this important LGBTQ plus news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
And analytics companies VidQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million viewers.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Monday, February 2nd, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ plus evening news show. Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ plus community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America. Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network, Hotspots Happening Out, is a proud beneficiary of the 2026 Florida AIDS Walk, standing strong by our healthcare pillar. Funds raised are matched dollar for dollar in support of our HIV policy reform and educational programs, including our MSM conference. We invite you to donate and join us on March 21st to walk in support of the Hotspots Happening Out teams.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this very table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Next up, let's welcome anchor Robert Kesten. Robert is back at the table and he believes in universal human rights and has dedicated crucial years of his life to the integration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights around the world. He conceptualized the UN Decade of Human Rights Education and is now the president of Stonewall National Museum Archives and Library. Welcome back to the show, Robert. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's always good to sit next to you.
Thank you. Looking handsome as ever. So look, I have a question. Your biggest event of the year is the gala, is standing on the shoulders of heroes. Ooh, look, I remembered it. Yay! And I know it's coming up soon. Let us know what's going on, where it is, how we can get tickets, all of that.
Well, it's February 21st at the venue in Wilton Manors. And it's honoring Janice Ian, who is a Grammy Award winner and whose songs are the lifeblood of many, many people of a certain generation. And then former Congressman Barney Frank, who was the first LGBT person married while in Congress to a same-sex partner. And then John Stryker, who is the founder of the Arcus Foundation, which has since 2020 put $700 million into nonprofit community support.
Wow, cha-ching.
So,
Awesome.
and he goes largely below the radar. He's very humble, very shy. So we felt that in this particular time, it is so important that we recognize the people that don't want credit, but do the heavy lifting. And he is one of them.
Wow. And in this day and age where there's so many budget cuts, so many of our nonprofits are hurting real bad. You've sat at these very chairs and have said about, hey, what's coming, right? In years past, and now we're in what you were talking about. How important are events like this?
The events aren't what's important so much. It's supporting the organizations. And sometimes you need a reason and a way for people to be supportive. These events are to give you that way, that reason, and also to learn about what the organizations are doing.
Yeah.
So we have a whole array of announcements that we'll be making that night, including the creation of a scholarship fund for university grad students and undergrads to use our archives and to use our library so more people will have the information they need to protect our community. We're also starting, off the record, a capital campaign because we are out of space and we know that we have to do a lot more in order to make people aware of our real history and our real culture, especially as others would like to prevent us from having that information.
Yeah, people forget. I mean, in a time where we're being erased from left to right, you know, that stone wall is right here in Fort Lauderdale and has all our memories right there. You had told me a couple of years ago when you were on the FayWhat show that you were going to manifest a new home, that you were going to get another building some way, somehow. And here we are in 2026, and now you've got a new hire that's going to help you with that, correct?
Correct. We've hired a trans woman who is based in New York, and she will be running the capital campaign and the major donor list of people. And our goal is to build in South Florida because we still believe we have to be where the fight is. And this has been the place that has led that charge. Mm-hmm. And so we do not want to leave. Yeah. And so we are very hopeful that this community will step up and understand. And interestingly enough, we are not looking just at a building. We are looking at creating what the museum, archive, and library world and the entertainment world, which you are now familiar with, will look like in the 22nd century. Yeah. So we are looking to miss the 21st century and go directly to the 22nd century, which means inclusive, immersive, engaged, all new kinds of exhibits, all new ways to make history come alive. So when you walk in that space, you will be there, wherever that is.
I love that. I mean, I thought it was huge when you guys had the Stonewall Inn sign, right? You had one of the original signs, and they had made like a whole display that looked like it did when you went into Stonewall that day. I mean, like, it was creepy, sad, happy, all at the same time, and it moved me, you know? So things like that are incredible, and you're always fantastic at that. You bring in authors to books that like laid out the history for our lives, and you put them right front and center for people to see. So I, for one, am excited to see what the future looks like. I am excited for all you do, for the new edition, and tell our people where they can get tickets to your gala.
They can go to our website, which is stonewall-museum.org, stonewall-museum.org, or go online, look us up, and call us. We can do it right over the phone. There's so many ways. Nothing should prevent anybody who wants to come from coming.
Amen. All right. Well, Robert, thank you so much for being back at the table at Queer News Tonight.
And thank you for having me here.
Let's welcome back to the table anchor Jason Nunez. Jason Nunez is a trailblazing leader, a passionate entrepreneur, and a fierce advocate for equality. He's the CEO of Go Digital Hero. Yes, a personal virtual administrative support agent. As a third-generation minority Air Force veteran, he has served at the Pentagon, the White House, the State Department, and the Department of Labor. Welcome back to the show, Jason. So listen, I know people that are part of your Go Digital Hero grow a family, right? And I know people who are interested in Go Digital. What are you how are you supporting folks these days? What can you offer people that have never heard of Go Digital before?
Yeah, so Go Digital Hero, one of the main things that separate us from other virtual assistant companies, we're US based. So nothing goes overseas, nothing is offshore. All of our digital heroes are within the continental United States, and all of our clients are within the continental United States. It's intentional because in a time of such cybersecurity scares, we make sure that we partner with an organization called Atro and New Edge, who helps us secure our data and secure our clients' data. So Go Digital Hero, we do everything from credit card reconciliation to logistics and event planning. We do research if you're a new business and you're trying to figure out which tools to use, if you want to go Google or Microsoft, if you want to go Asana or ClickUp, like there's different things that are super time consuming and we take those on. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is being relatable, reliable, and reputable. So all of our team is either LGBT, veteran, or a minority. All of our clients resemble who we are. Minority, LGBT, or veteran. And that's intentional too, because half of the battle of trying to find somebody to be your assistant is trusting them. And if you come to me and I'm not a member of the LGBT community, you're going to have to teach me what it is to be in the LGBT community. We already break that barrier and we move on to the more productive things that are going to help you grow as a business.
Well, how about if you encounter a client that needs all of that, like they're messy? Not talking about myself, but a little bit. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, it's important to get a fan base. It's important to have emails and have connection and have social media presence with everybody. It's important to know how to put together a successful event. You know, all of those things you're able to do.
Yes. So we work on a collaborative consumption model, meaning I have an entire engine room, what I call, and a team behind me that specializes in whether it's marketing, whether it's research, whether it's copywriting. And then we take the client's information and we divide it up. But the client has a hero. So what we do is we integrate, example, we would be hero at the FayWhat show. That way you know that you just have a hero. You don't need to know if it was Jacob, Jasmine, or Jesse that did the work. You don't need to worry about that. You focus on you have a hero. Boom. And then you send it to us, and my team specializes in those things. We have kept up with a lot of the technology nowadays. We are not AI agents. We leverage the tools of AI, but we don't put a lot of our clients' information in AI just because, again, we pride ourselves in the cybersecurity, privacy awareness. So we're trying not to put things out there in the netherworld that could ever come back to bite our clients in the butt.
To haunt everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that nude picture from 1998. Yeah.
I found that one.
Jason Nunez, thank you for being back on the show, and I can't wait to talk more things here on Queer News Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspot's Happening Out's The FayWhat Show. Faye, the wedding singer, brings 80s romance to Coral Springs on February 6th. Tell me what's happening out. I
sure will, Robert. So get ready for big hair, bold laughs, and nonstop nostalgia as the wedding singer hits the stage on February 6th from 7:30 to 9:30. Based on the hit Adam Sandler film, this heartwarming 1980s musical follows Robbie, a wedding singer left at the altar who unexpectedly falls for Julia, a waitress engaged to the wrong man. Presented by Coral Springs Center for the Performing Arts, Alexander Zenos, and Promethean Arts and Entertainment, the show blends romance, comedy, and an upbeat retro score. Tickets are available online via the venue's official website. You can look up Coral Springs Center of the Arts, and you can get the tickets right there. I am a huge Alexander Zenos fan. So is Jason, as you can see him nodding. Yeah. And And I just think that he's just a sweet, incredibly talented member of the LGBTQ plus community. He's great to look at, but he's incredible on stage when he's not, like, he's incredible on the stage when he's doing his own stuff, right? But then to see him come out of his shell and play something else is always so fun to see. He was in Big Easy Queens with Miss Bouvier and Jennifer McLean and all those people, and I thought he stole the show in that movie. It was so good. So Wedding Singer is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. Like that last scene when they're in the airplane and he starts singing with Billy Idol. I mean, like, I cry every single time because the song is so cute and sweet, you know. I love Drew Barrymore, and you know, so to see this come alive on stage, I mean, I love theater of all kinds. I'll go anywhere. And Coral Sky and their Coral Springs Theater is amazing. I saw Jinx Monsoon there during a time when nobody would let drag queens go on stage. They had the cojones to do so, and I respect them for it. So I'm excited for the show.
I am too. I mean, Alexander Zeno's on stage, acting, singing, talking, laughing. He can do whatever on stage, and he's phenomenal at what he does. A few weeks ago, he had a concert. The experience was just like, it was one of those where you would not be able to experience a concert in that way, because while he's on stage, you would think that there's some sort of divide, but he really does like talk to you and sing to you. And there's that connection from the stage that he's able to have. And that presence really does make us engaged in whatever he's doing. I mean, I think I watched Big Easy Queens about 8 times. Now that you mention it again, I might go watch it. I might go watch it again.
It's so cold, right? It's a perfect movie to go wrap yourself up, grab your dog or your boo or none. Or a bottle of vodka, okay? You can still do it, you know? And I mean, and it might be because I'm part of a play right now. But I respect this craft so much more now. Like, Alexander's been on a ton of plays and he's been in a ton of plays, all right? I haven't, right? And like, now I know what it all entails behind the scenes. And I even have a bigger respect for him because he'll do this show and still do all his performances somewhere else with no problem, and you won't know it. That's amazing. Get your tickets today. Robert, close this out.
I will try. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Wedding Singer on February 6th.
I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Reverend Dr. Harold Marrero named Pridelines' new executive director. Queer News Tonight is breaking news that Reverend Dr. Harold Marrero is the new executive director over at Pridelines. Harold steps into this role at a critical moment. Pridelines faced a challenging couple of years, and many in our community see his leadership as a potential game changer, bringing stability, vision, and renewed trust to one of South Florida's most vital LGBTQ organizations. Harold is no stranger to Queer News Tonight. He previously served as Safe Schools Chief Operating Officer, where he participated in the Safe Schools Rainbow Roundtable right here on our show, advocating for safer, more inclusive spaces for queer youth. Community support for Pridelines remains strong. Hotspots Happening Out is once again showing up as a proud supporter of Pridelines during the Florida AIDS Walk. You know, Pridelines, you know, is not just a building. It's a place of hope for so many people, you know, and this is honestly leadership under pressure. Pridelines, you know, doesn't like it needs vision, it needs accountability and trust rebuilt in real time. And that's not easy. You know, Pridelines has been around for 40-something years, and in the last couple of years, they had a lot of problems. They had a lot of issues. They had to replace the executive director twice. You know, there was someone who was put in place that was from Compass, who I super respect. And I'm not going to blow up her spot by saying her name. If you know it, you know it. And she was put in that spot, and I really thought that she'd be able to turn it around. And she mentioned in passing that she was held down and was not allowed to make decisions that she wanted to make to better the organization, right? Fast forward, now we have Harold here in this space. I hope, and it seems that it's not the same way playing out. It's not the same thing playing out again. I interviewed him for my show. If you want to watch it on tomorrow's FayWhat show, it'll be on there bright and early at 9 a.m., where he really goes into why he said yes and what he's planning to do to change what people think about Pridelines. I told him straight out, people got a bad taste in their mouth over Pridelines. And, it's, and that's difficult. Our community really tries to lift when we're present and also squishes you like a bug without knowing all the facts at a first moment. I asked them if there were any charges pending. I asked them all the questions that all of you out there probably want to know the answers to. So if you want to know the answers to that, please watch tomorrow's show. But at the end of the day, they're a lifeline to so many queer kids. My daughter is a millennial and she's got friends that would go to a lot of the events that were fellowship events for younger people that were LGBTQ, and all those services just disappeared once what happened to them. So, I don't want to say that I'm weary, because I think that Harold is an exceptional person, and it's probably going to be said across the board, if anybody can do it, he can. So instead of kind of questioning, I just want to send good vibes his way and hope that it works out, and whatever they need in support, try to be there to help in whatever capacity I can.
For sure. He does bring a lot of experience, especially being part of safe schools.
Yeah.
And, having that engagement and seeing the youth firsthand. It was pretty sad when those safe spaces were taken away from our youth.
Yeah.
I've said it time and time again, like, we're at this table, it's built, we built it, but we need to make sure that it's still here for the next generation, our successors, and the youth are that. And Pridelines programming provides that for them. So, as we get a new executive director in that role, I personally encourage our community to really evaluate how much support and where it's going. And to make sure that if the youth are an important, group of our community that they need to show up for Pridelines.
Yeah, I mean, to me, they're the most important part of our community because they can't vote.
Right.
I mean, Robert, what do you think?
What I think is that, like in every organization, finding good board members makes a huge difference in how an organization is perceived in the community. It is difficult, no offense to anybody here, to get really good, committed board members who understand all the roles that a board member needs to play. And I think that many organizations in South Florida have good staff, but they're not always as well supported as they need to be by the board. And that then becomes the engine of the organization. So whether it was a staffing issue at Pridelines or at many of these other organizations, I don't know. But needless to say, the board didn't step up and take the responsibility that it needed to do. And so if you do care about children, if you do care about history, if you do care about commerce, if you care about the arts, then you have to be willing as a community member to step up and go beyond. Because at this particular time in history, we have nothing else but ourselves. We don't have the luxury that NSU has. We don't have the luxury of Harvard. We don't have the luxury of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Yeah. We have to stand on our own 2 feet, and we have to be the support that helps us do that. And that comes from a community that is willing to take responsibility, and that means board leadership, committee responsibilities, and things like that. And if you want a strong Pridelines, it's not only about giving money, it's about giving time, it's about providing leadership, it's about being supportive of the new ED.
100%.
I'm Robert Kesten, and let's queer up the worldview. Council of Europe passes trans-inclusive conversion therapy ban. The Council of Europe has voted to pass a trans-inclusive ban on so-called conversion therapy, despite strong anti-trans lobbying efforts. The human rights body, separate from the European Union, approved a resolution introduced by UK Labour MP Kate Osborne, calling for the abusive practices to be banned across its 26 member states. So-called conversion practices involve physical or psychological abuse aimed at changing a person's sexuality or gender identity. Something experts say is impossible. These practices are often linked to conservative religious groups and can include extreme methods like shock therapy. 71 members voted in favor of the ban, with 26 against and 2 abstentions. Osborne wrote, quote, "Conversion practices have no scientific basis and have harmful consequences on the individuals," unquote, warning that they increase depression, PTSD, and suicide risk. The ban passed despite opposition from Sex Matters. The Good Law Project called the vote a major win. This is a serious issue, and we were talking about kids before, and here's another area where children are the ones that get the brunt of it. But even in Tennessee, as we said before, they're calling for the death penalty of parents and doctors. So we also are feeling the pressure of the religious right. And it goes after what we always called the low-hanging fruit, where they can get the most support, and they can also divide our own community into different factions because people get scared. So the fact of the matter is, we have to be better informed. We have to know the science. It's just like you hear about trans women in sports. The numbers don't justify the attention.
At all. There's like 3 women that like to fight to play.
There are 7 in the NCAA, I believe. 7. And some of them are in sports that strength and height and all of that don't matter.
Yeah,
so,
like chess and pool.
So there are places where it may make a difference, and there's so much research being done, not conclusive. And there are some things where you look at one thing and it says, yes, they shouldn't be allowed. And then you look at other things and you say, they shouldn't be allowed because it's unfair to them.
Yeah.
Because they can't hold up. So we don't know. And human beings in 2026 should be able to say, we just don't know. And that we have to see what the science says. The other thing is, more and more girls are participating in sports at younger ages with boys. So where do the differences come in? When do they separate? Do they separate? Are girls getting stronger and tougher? We don't know because the studies are still unconclusive. The idea that Europe is stepped up again while the United States fumbles the ball is really the sad part, because we used to be the world's leader on most things that had to do with human and civil rights. And we have really, really fallen off the edge of a flat earth. And that's shameful and sad.
It's just crazy how they they talk so much negativity about trans kids and mutilating and stuff, but they're okay with shock therapy and long-lasting PTSD. Like, they're harming the kids probably more than if they just let them.
Not probably.
They are.
Well, they are harming the kids.
Yes.
Correct. They are harming the kids more than if they would just let them be themselves.
Yeah. Well, Europe just said really loud what science has screamed for a bunch of decades, right? I mean, you can't pray, punish, or shock someone into being straight or even cis, Conversion therapy is abuse. Full stop. Full stop. I mean, I know some people that were put through some traumatic things in their youth by religious folks claiming God as the reason, behind it, I mean, how do you trust the world? How do you trust your parents? How do you trust God after going through something like that? I mean, and science has screamed it for decades. And it's like the U.S. going, no. I don't want to know about science. You know what I mean? Do we have to remind everybody about COVID?
Well, they're the same people who believe that the earth is flat, if they believe that the earth is flat, then they've got bigger problems than worrying about trans people. And they should worry about those things because they're headed off a cliff. Wow. So yes, it's shameful. And it goes to that whole idea of my kid's going to go to school in the morning and come back as something else. And I still have gone to numbers of elementary schools, and I have not once seen an operating room. Not once. So unless they do it in the cafeteria, I have no idea.
No, because it's just a quick vaccine. You haven't seen it. It's blah, you're gay.
No, it's not about gay. Your son goes to school and comes back as your daughter.
Comes back as your daughter.
Right. Well, that needs surgery. And there are no operating theaters in elementary schools.
I'm Jason Nunez, and let's queer up the USA View. Out journalist Don Lemon arrested after reporting on anti-ICE protest. Gay journalist Don Lemon was arrested late Thursday night after attending and reporting on an anti-ICE protest in Minnesota. Lemon, 59, says he was working as a journalist when he entered City's Church in St. Paul on January 18th to observe a protest against an immigration crackdown that left Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, both 37, dead at the hands of federal immigration agents. The church is led by a pastor who also serves as an immigration and customs enforcement official. During the service, protesters chanted, "ICE out," prompting the Trump administration to charge 8 people, including Lemon, under a federal law protecting worship services. A magistrate judge later rejected the evidence against Lemon as insufficient. A Justice Department effort to revive the case was also denied. Lemon's attorney, Abby Lowell, called the charges, quote, an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court, end quote. Lemon, a former CNN anchor and now an independent journalist with a YouTube show, is set to appear in federal court in Los Angeles. The arrest comes amid his public feud with the rapper Nicki Minaj following the reporting on the protest. So, Don Lemon, I followed Don Lemon for years on CNN, and he tells it as it is.
Yeah.
He tells it as it is. That's one of the reasons why he's not with CNN anymore. He told it he told it how it is. And this is just another bully tactic from the Trump administration. But now to go into worship spaces, like, where does your First Amendment right go to practice or not practice your faith? Now you have to be worried about ICE being where you're going to worship God, which is supposed to be your safe space. It's brutal.
We had Don Lemon a few months ago come to Stonewall. We interviewed him about his book.
He was reading from his book.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And so I spent a lot of time with him. And the one thing that you do get is that his firm belief in what the job of a journalist is absolute. And he clearly understands, no doubt, that the only way our country survives is if we have the information that we need to make decisions for ourselves that are well-informed. And he believes in a well-informed electorate and a well-informed population. And clearly that is a threat to a regime that is removing historic records every place that they can. The fact that he is an attractive man married to a man has to upset people like Kristi Noem no end. So he becomes the perfect target. Yeah. And he becomes the transitional target, moving away from trans to gay and lesbian. And that's also a danger. So all of the things that they put in place by going after someone like Don Lemon is a bigger danger than people realize at first blush. Yes, it's going after the First Amendment. Yes, it's going after the freedom that journalists are allowed by the Constitution. But also it brings in that you can't trust people of color, you can't trust gays and lesbians, because they won't give you the information that you need. They'll protect trans people. They'll protect the radical left that invades church spaces. You're allowed a lot of freedoms in this country. And the reason that this country has progressed as far as it has over these 250 years is because we've gotten more freedoms, not less freedoms. And that's really something that we have to focus on, because everybody wants to be free.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be free.
And this wasn't about law and order, you know what I mean? It was about silencing witnesses and silencing folks that take the real message to the masses, you know? what struck me, I mean, again, you can threaten to do things, but the federal agents went and took this man to jail. The dehumanization that happens to someone when you are processed in jail is something that I don't wish on anybody. Okay. And the fact that they put that man through that, it's just disgusting to me.
But they did it after multiple courts told them no. They did it on Pam Bondi's word and order, not on the courts.
Yeah.
That is absolutely an outrage. And the only one who should be in jail right now is Pam Bondi.
I hate that woman. Stupid dog killer.
She says, no, that's Kristi Noem.
Oh my God, I hate them both.
That's fine. you can freely hate them both.
Robert's like, that's okay with that,
But we need to get them straight.
Mm-hmm. No, they are straight. I don't want anything.
No. But
they don't need to be in the gay community. No, thank you.
That's for sure. But you have to know which one you're talking about because they do not look alike. They act. They act alike. They're Patty and Kathy from the Patty Duke Show. If you don't know, you're not old enough. Look it up. You will love it.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up trans rights. Tennessee GOP candidate calls for executions of parents of trans kids. A Tennessee Republican running for governor is facing national outrage. Monty Fritz openly called for the execution of the parents of transgender children and doctors providing gender-affirming care. On a Christian nationalist podcast, Fritz said, quote, "I think we need a law in Tennessee that would allow for capital punishment. I think that anyone who would try to disfigure a child through hormones or surgery, you might be eligible for capital punishment," end quote. The comments come as the United States debates trans rights following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling upholding Tennessee's care ban. This gentleman, and just the fact that he even calls himself part of a reputable religious organization and then in the same breath hopes death on someone.
Literally.
Is like why religion scares the hell out of a lot of LGBTQ plus people. I mean, this is pure disgusting.
So this past weekend, I was able to spend some time with the parents of PFLAG. And they are parents of LGBT members. And this was actually one of the topics that they were super scared about. They're like, what if this law in Tennessee comes down to Florida? Like, how can I support my child publicly or privately without like the fear of me getting executed because of who they are, and because of basically protecting my child? And it's crazy to think because you start one place and these MAGA folks will spread it.
And when you mention Tennessee or Texas, you mention Florida in that same breath. So of course they're worried about that. How could they not? And that's why parents of many trans kids have moved. And that's without having the money to do so. That is, we're moving somewhere and staying on somebody's couch because we have no other ways. But I want my kid to get his or her gender affirming care, and I'm going to support that. I want my kid to live. My kid tells me they want to die otherwise. What am I going to do? I'm leaving.
Well, it's surprising how everything ties together. We read time and time again that LGBTQ plus children are more likely to suffer mental illness. They are more likely to commit suicide. They're more likely. Well, if you don't believe that you have a future, if you don't believe that anybody cares whether you live or die, you are going to be more likely to want to end it because you think you're doing yourself and your family a favor. If you are celebrated at home, you are more likely to want to live because you believe in the future. You believe that you have a purpose on this planet. So it's not that our children are more likely to do those things. It's that is the direction that they are being railroaded in, and that has to stop, and it has to stop with our community, and it has to happen but through our insistence that other people pay attention.
Through our demand.
Absolutely, that they must pay attention. These are human beings, and my work has focused largely on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and human rights integration. And this is an absolute, not only a violation of human rights, but the absence of human rights. We can't even begin to offend something if it doesn't exist. And human rights right now, certainly across these platforms, does not even exist.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for kids, you know, like I could always think about.
And their parents.
And their parents. Like, you know, I think about being a queer kid in a Latino household, right? If you ask my brothers how our childhood was, they have a different story than I do, right? But I was a queer kid hiding who I was because I didn't want to disrupt the house, right?
And you didn't want to get thrown out of your house.
I didn't want to get thrown out. But because of those reasons, you think about ending your life.
Absolutely.
Now imagine being a trans child when you're turning on the TV and they're saying they hate you. You know what I mean? Like the TV didn't tell me I hated myself, right? For being different.
And now I know everybody else. Right. Now I know everybody else hates me too.
God. Wow. Well, folks, that is an LGBTQ 1 minute news that was a lot more than 1 minute because it needed to be.
1 minute news. Let's queer up the USA view. Kennedy Center VP quits after 12 days amid turmoil. Kevin Couch has stepped down just 12 days after being appointed Vice President of Artistic Programming at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. Couch resigned on Wednesday, January 28th, offering no explanation. His exit follows mounting controversy after the board voted to rename the institution the Trump Kennedy Center after Donald Trump replaced the chair and removed board members. Artists have protested this move by canceling performances, while ticket sales have plunged to their lowest levels since the pandemic. Donald Trump has also posted that the Kennedy Center will be closed on July 4th and not open for 2 years. Board approval is pending. This is revenge and saving face and doing all the things that a good, honest broker would not be doing. But we don't have an administration. We have a regime. We don't have a democracy. We have a dictatorship of sorts. But we do not have a place where the arts can practice freely. We are now being told what is acceptable and what is not. And if anything, the arts are intended to push the envelope. And the Kennedy Center has long done that. Yeah. And the Trump regime wants to push Melania on us as if that's great art and great news and great information. And that is the antithesis of what this country stands for. It is the antithesis of what art is supposed to do. And it really is more harmful than people realize at this particular juncture.
I remember looking forward to the Kennedy Center honors because they were always spotlighting such incredible people from our community.
Absolutely.
And it was always a bunch of gays. You know what I mean? It was always so well represented. Our community was always so well represented and represented to the fullest degree. White, black, brown, women, trans. Like there was always like such great, you know, representation. This is a loss. This is a huge loss. But I think that this gentleman knew that, right? I think Kevin Couch, his name is Couch. Maybe JD Vance hit on him and he ran.
or he's just a potato.
You know, I think that he saw. You know what I mean? With just 12 days, he didn't need more than that. That's including weekends. He was like, wait a minute, I can't be a part of this. This is going to go down nasty, you know? And now that Trump is going to close it on 4th of July for 2 years, that means we won't have that space for anything for 2 years. It will reopen in 2 years as being super hyper Trump.
Well, he's also talking about starting construction and turning it into this massive complex. So he may be intending to get rid of the Kennedy part and just having the Trump part. And ironically, it's supposed to be finished towards the end of this term. Once again, we don't know what that means because the ballroom, all of these things come to fruition when he should be leaving office. He clearly has no intention at this point to leave. No. So these things are sending a message about other things that are extraordinarily dangerous when you're looking at democracy.
I'm thinking of like King Jong-un, that he like forces everybody to have a picture of him in certain spots of his house. They don't listen to regular music. They listen to music that's fabricated by the government. Like scary stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny you should mention him because there was a live mic where Trump was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where he said in North Korea, when he speaks, they jump up and they cheer. I want that in my country. These people should respond to me the way his people respond to him. He didn't know he was being recorded. That is un-American. But as we know, this regime in power right now is not representative of the American people.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up games. Nintendo's Tomodachi life goes queer. Fans cheer. Critics rage. Nintendo fans are celebrating as Tomodachi life living the dream adds same-sex couples. Plus, non-binary and asexual options. Players can now choose gender identity and dating preferences with options for one, more than one, or none. One fan wrote, quote, Tomodachi life has non-binary options. Oh my effing God. Nintendo has gone woke, end quote. Another added, quote, oh my God, you can actually be asexual in Tomodachi life. Holy shit. My jaw dropped. I feel seen, end quote. Right-wing backlash followed, but the support overwhelmingly dominates. The game launches April 16th, 2026. I love this. Anything with more representation, I'm all about. We were talking about The Sims a couple of weeks ago about how they've been kind of inclusive for a long time. And like, you know, you're a queer kid, you don't see yourself anywhere, but you play this game where you're able to make your character who you are, you know, change the hair, change what you feel like. You know, maybe you don't really know what your sexuality is right now, but you get to play with it in a game. Like, it's educational.
Yeah. I love the person, whoever said, I feel seen, because that's what it's all about. I mean, you play these games growing up. I had Atari, dating myself. But it was more, they become so real life. Like, I remember in my years in the military, like, we used to equate some of our unmanned vehicle operators as the ones who used to play Call of Duty. Like, they sit behind a screen and play.
Wow.
That takes a toll on you. And this is on the positive side where they get to see themselves represented and they feel seen. So I love what Tomodachi is doing. And if I played Tomodachi, I would also say, I feel seen.
I think it's the reason that gaming ultimately now makes more money than movies, theater, television, music, because it is much faster and more far-reaching in terms of being inclusive. And that's across all these gaming platforms. And you're engaged and you're immersed in it. So you get to live who you want to be. You get to behave in a way that you want to behave. The people who are behind a lot of these games, although not all of it is positive and some of it is sort of addictive, they also understand that people need these kind of avenues in order to be healthier and more well engrossed in their own communities.
You know, and like games get like a bad rap, you know what I mean? Because you think of Grand Theft Auto, right? My stupid little brothers were playing that and they were like, yeah, we're going to pull somebody out of a car. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like something that, you know, we always say about negative things that they come with, but this is a positive, you know? And like you said, it's not untapped, but it's not something that Trump is talking about yet. You know what I mean? So those folks still get to be who they are in a safe space, so to speak, in the safe space of their home.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? And
they form communities with this.
And friends and everything. And they don't even live in the same place. You know? So I'm glad that we were able to spotlight that.
Which spreads it all over. That it's okay.
That it's okay. You know, someone that lives in a very open place like Wilton can be talking to somebody who's in Tennessee or in Texas, you know what I mean? And be like, hey, we're kind of going through the same thing and this is what we do here. who knows? You know, it could also be a lifeline for folks.
It is.
Are you going to download Tomodachi?
I am. It comes out in April. I mean, I don't know how to play a game. I'm awful. I'm still thinking of Mortal Kombat, and I'm dating myself, right? Like, I really am not. Like, if it's not Pac-Man, you know, and it's Miss Pac-Man because, you know, I'm a lesbian. Aside from that, I don't really play, you know, anything. But I did used to love the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Again, dating myself.
Donatello.
Well, you want to really date yourself? Did you ever play Pong?
No.
See?
What's Pong?
Pong was the earliest of all these games. And you would sit there, and it was like a ping pong ball, and it went bong, bong, bong. That was as advanced as it was.
Wow.
And it was called Pong. And I think you should all look it up on Google.
Okay.
There you go.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Fake post targets Sydney Sweeney with anti-LGBTQ plus lie. Sydney Sweeney is the latest celebrity hit by anti-LGBTQ plus fake news. A viral Instagram post falsely claims the Euphoria star donated $1 million to find a cure for being queer. The post, liked over 95,000 times, came from an account that clearly states it shares, quote, satire and parody stories created for entertainment purposes only, end quote. Still, many believed it, fueling anti-LGBTQ plus hate in the comments, including violent rhetoric. Her fans and the community are happy to know that the claim is entirely false. Well, this is actual fake news. This is actual fake news. And it's so dangerous because it shows the power of social media. It shows the power of social media, and it also shows the power of how gullible our world is getting, that we believe the first thing that comes out on social media.
Yep.
Sydney Sweeney, sorry that happened to you, girl.
You know, we've been conditioned, right, to like have instant gratification and get our information quick, right? And it's like, bitch, you're not the only one that just got this, right? Yet you feel like it's your duty to get that out in a timely manner before checking it. You know what I mean? And I'm responsible for this too. I am so sorry. Like, you know, I don't want people to support people who don't support us, right? So I get something. I got a fake news story about Chipotle giving a shit ton of money to ICE. And I was beside myself because I've had friends pulled over because of ICE. I've had people pulled out of their cars, Americans, okay? So I'm a little like triggered by these stories, right? And I don't want them to have more support, right? There isn't a fund where you can just send money and help ICE. It doesn't work that way, okay? But I didn't check it before, okay? Like, I automatically didn't want you to go get your lunch at Chipotle. Yeah. And I love me some Chipotle.
I know.
You know, so I was so glad that I found out that it was someone who had been a part of their executive team before, who had given some money to somebody that in turn had gone to ICE in some way, shape, or form. But the story that I saw was just, this money was given to them. They don't like us. You know what I mean? So it's hard to differentiate AI these days and fake news. It's getting harder and harder to do so, but please try.
Well, in this case, though, they said in the introduction, they do satire. So if people read, then they know that it's like The Onion. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be real. It's not supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be funny. These things are not funny because people take everything seriously, and people don't know how to read for content anymore, so they don't know what they're reading is true or false. I, of course, am dating myself because I'm much too young to know who Sweeney is or Euphoria, but...
But that.
1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Springsteen, the boss, honors Minneapolis victims in protest song. Bruce Springsteen has released a powerful new protest song, Streets of Minneapolis, honoring Alex Preddy and Renee Good, both 37, fatally shot in Minneapolis this January. Released January 28th, the track condemns, quote, King Trump's private army, unquote, and names Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem for spreading, quote, dirty lies, unquote. Springsteen sings, quote, oh, our Minneapolis, I hear your voice, crying through the bloody mist, unquote. The song has drawn nearly 3 million views, uniting global listeners in solidarity with Minneapolis. He often has his finger on the pulse of what Americans are thinking and feeling. He's been attacked viciously by the Trump regime, and he has shot back saying, I don't really care. You can say whatever you damn well please. It doesn't matter. I'm going to sing my song.
Yep.
And I think that 3 million people listening to the song in like a week's time is an indication that he will have the last word on this. Everything's going to keep going, but more people will jump on the Springsteen bandwagon than will jump on a bandwagon that's killing Americans on the streets of American cities. So right on, Bruce.
Right. And so, he's from Jersey, like me. Right. And he's incredible. I think a movie just came out of it, right?
Yes.
From his life, where the guy from The Bear played him.
Yes.
And that got some acclaim. He doesn't give a crap, right? Like, you're not going to shut me down. I'm a 76-year-old white man, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and you're not going to stop me, But like,
he was born to run.
he was born to run. And, I love that the people of Minneapolis feel seen by his song. If they can give any kind of comfort, then, oh my God, there's 2 more spaces in heaven for Bruce Springsteen just for that.
Yeah, I love the artist. I love when artists use their platform for good. And if a song makes someone feel seen, if a song brings news to light, brings attention to where we need to come together and help out, like that's exactly what Bruce did here, and it's definitely uniting global listeners, as the article said.
And I love it even more that he's a white cisgendered man.
Literally.
That is safe. He's got a huge luxury that many of us don't. Yet, again, he gets to say what he has to say, and not worry about someone to come in and arrest him tomorrow, Well, not yet. You know what I mean? These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight, and our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If your community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out television networks and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your lead anchor, FayWhat, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, including Robert Kesten and Jason Nunez. That's N with an N. Nunez. Did I do it?
You did.
Nunez. Yes, we'll see you daily at 8 p.m. to our LGBTQ plus world. We wish you a good night.